my morning star, Ali. The fruit of my heart, Ali, my son, the star. In late November 2024, this video went viral on social media in a strange way. It was footage from a mourning ceremony in the Markazi province and the city of Khomein, along with blurred images of family members appearing in the background, with text written at the bottom of the image. On the eve of the 40th day after the passing of the servants of Hussein, this was a mourning ceremony for 3 members of a family who were killed in the darkest way possible. However, the person walking in front of the mourning ceremony and playing music, along with his father, did not allow the matter to be publicized and concealed the crime to preserve their own dignity. But certainly in that small town, a crime of this magnitude cannot be hidden from the people. Hello friends, welcome to the Confession channel. You are viewers and listeners of another case from our series of videos. The case of the assault and mass murder of 3 members of a family from Khomein by their Afghan workers. If you are interested in confession reports from criminal cases, we would be delighted. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell next to it so you don't miss new videos. This confession video is one of the most ambiguous cases that I want to narrate for you. A bitter and dark case. A painful crime in which a mother and daughter were brutally assaulted in the most savage way possible, and both, along with one of the family's sons, were murdered. However, the eldest son of the family, who is a well-known eulogist and a manager at Iran Insurance Company, preferred to keep the details of this crime hidden, was to preserve his dignity and position, and to prevent the disgrace of the assault on his sister and mother and the murder of his family members from being exposed. For this reason, a strange story was crafted for this crime. Of course, before we delve into the details of this dark case, I must extend a special thanks to the local news channels and local journalists, because extracting the details of this case would not have been possible without their cooperation, as the official media presented a different narrative of the murder case of this family from Khomein. In this video, for the first time, the details of this crime have been compiled and are being recounted. The famous video of the mourning ceremony for the 40th day after the victim's death was, for the first time, shared by the eldest son of the family, the same one who remained silent during the mourning ceremony. He was hitting again. He shared it on his Instagram page and wrote, "On the eve of the 40th day of the passing of the servants of Hussein, the late Hajiye Khanum Rogiye Ghasemi Far, and her children Karbalae Morteza Jahanshahi and Karbalae Rehane Jahanshahi, who surrendered their lives to the Creator in the tragic incident of the 15th of May 1403. Rogiye Ghasemi Far was the mother, and Rehane and Morteza were her daughter and son, who were killed together in that tragic incident on the 15th of May. It was obvious that in the first step to decipher the simultaneous death of 3 members of a family, we had to refer to the news on official news websites and agencies. In reviewing the crime and incident news of the 15th of May, we came across this report. The Islamic Republic News Agency, IRNA, had written that members of a family from the city of Khomein fell into an agricultural pool while working on a farm in the village of Lilian, and all 3 lost their lives. At the time of the incident, there was no one at the scene to save them, and when the rescue teams arrived, the bodies of all 3 were found in the agricultural pool. In the early hours after the incident became public, the on-duty criminal judge of Khomein County dismissed the hypothesis of it being an accident and announced the start of investigations to unravel this criminal case. But less than 24 hours later, the eldest brother of the family, who is the well-known eulogist of the county, announced on his Instagram page that his mother, sister, and brother fell into the agricultural pool due to an accident and died. He also expressed gratitude to friends and acquaintances who sent messages and offered condolences. This Instagram post quickly circulated through local news channels, and everyone was surprised about the reason behind this claim, while almost everyone knew that the real story was something else. A look at the flood of comments left by users under these news posts clearly showed that the real story was something else. which for some reason they intended to hide. It was natural that the Jahanshahi family did not manage that large and endless farm on their own. They had a large family business that they had started themselves a few years ago, and gradually, as their work expanded, they hired a few workers and worked less themselves. The Jahanshahi farm was a relatively large agricultural production complex that was run as a family business, and most of its workers were seasonal workers, who were added depending on the farm's workload. In the past couple of years, with the decrease in Iranian workers, almost all the workers who were employed on this farm were from Afghanistan. At the time of the incident, 4 Afghan workers were working on the Jahanshahi farm. All 4 were undocumented and unauthorized Afghan workers who both worked on the farm and had a place to sleep, staying overnight in a room next to the farm. Most of the seasonal Afghan workers in that area work in such a way that they receive wages, food, and a place to sleep. They work for a few months and then either go to big cities for construction jobs or illegally head to Turkey in hopes of reaching Europe. The 4 Afghan workers were also seen on the farm on the morning of the incident. However, exactly when the bodies of these 3 people were found in the agricultural pool, there was no news of them. They had packed their belongings and disappeared without settling their accounts. After the disappearance of these 4 Afghan workers from the Jahanshahi farm, the hypothesis of murder by Afghan workers gained strength, and with the news leaked from the forensic department in one of the county's channels, the dimensions of this terrifying crime took on a semblance of truth. The bodies of all 3 individuals were transferred to the forensic department for further investigation, and in those initial investigations, it was determined that although all 3 corpses were found in the agricultural pool, the signs of beating and rope marks on their necks confirmed that before falling into the agricultural pool, they were killed by something like a rope or cord being wrapped around their necks, and their bodies were thrown into the pool to stage the scene as if everything was an accident. However, this was not the whole story, and the forensic report contained even more terrifying details. The mother and daughter had been raped before being murdered. This means they were first raped and then killed. The details of this crime were initially revealed by a local journalist, but they were quickly silenced, and the victim's family did not allow the details of the crime to be disclosed to preserve their reputation, even filing a complaint against that journalist. It's true that in official sources, the details of the incident were not made public, and it was only written that these 3 people died due to drowning in an agricultural pool. However, according to the villagers and local journalists, the real story seems to be that 4 Afghan workers initially trapped the family's daughter, Rehane Jahanshahi, with the intent to assault her. When the girl made noise and her mother arrived, they tied up both of them and assaulted them. In the midst of this tragedy, Morteza arrives and gets into a confrontation with them. They first kill him, and after killing Morteza, they kill his sister Rehane. They also silence Darshan and escape from the farm. This tragedy occurred around 10 in the morning, and the bodies were found around 7 in the evening, meaning the workers had about 9 hours to escape from the scene. More than 6 months have passed since the crime, and there is still no news of the Afghan workers. No one knows exactly why they suddenly disappeared on the day of these 3 people's deaths and where they went. Thank you for staying with us up to this moment. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments below this page. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so to support us and our activities.